Ever get that feeling like you really want to understand something, like something kind of complex, but you don't want to like wade through tons and tons of details to get there?
Yeah, you want the shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. A shortcut to knowledge. And today's deep dive is going to be a shortcut to one of those books a lot of you have asked about.
Yeah.
We're diving into Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
A classic.
A classic, that's right.
We're going deep. We're going deep with some really cool stuff that you sent us. Some analysis by Dr. Jasvant Rethard.
Oh, yeah.
He's been talking about this book with his graduate students.
And we get to listen in. I love it.
Yes.
So we're not just going to like retell the story. We're going to see why this book, written like over 200 years ago, still has so much to say to us today.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be the really fun part.
It is.
To see what it's still saying to us.
It is. Think of this as like your fast track to Pride and Prejudice.
Express lane.
Yeah, express lane.
Right through it.
And we're going to answer some really key questions about this book. Like, why is this 19th century English romance so popular?
All over the world.
All over the world. Even with those grad students in India. I think that's super interesting.
Yes.
And then what can Pride and Prejudice teach us about love and relationships and even society?
And growing up.
Yeah.
It's a really great book for that, I think.
It is. Are you ready to jump in?
To it.
All right. So Pride and Prejudice.
Let's start with the basics.
Yes.
I mean, Dr. Rathord said it best. It's about love.
Okay.
Mistakes. And growing up.
I love it.
And it centers around Elizabeth Bennet.
Okay.
And Mr. Darcy.
And they start off, well.
Not liking each other.
Not liking each other at all. No. But they eventually, well, you know what happens.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, they find their way to each other. So let's start with the Bennet family. We've got Mr. Bennet. He's kind of like this, I don't know, he's kind of checked out, I think, of his crazy family a little bit.
Kind of over it.
Yeah. And then Mrs. Bennet.
The opposite.
Is all about getting her 5 daughters married off.
She's on a mission.
She's on a mission. Why was it so important for her to marry off these girls? Like, what was the pressure there?
Okay, so back then, like in the 1800s in England, women couldn't really do a lot of things that we think of as normal now.
Okay.
So they couldn't work. Like they couldn't have a career.
Right.
And they couldn't inherit money.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't like support themselves, really.
Got it.
And the stuff you sent even says that marriage was basically the only way for a woman to be, safe and secure.
He was like their career.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, okay.
So that's why Mrs. Bennet was like so obsessed with it.
I mean, she was looking out for her daughters.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, she wanted them to have good lives.
All right, that makes sense. So then these two guys show up.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bingley, rich bachelor number 1.
Yep.
And then his friend, Mr. Darcy, who is like even richer.
And way more stuck up.
And yeah, like way more full of himself.
Yeah, like super proud.
Yes. And this is where the pride part comes in, right?
Oh, totally.
So at this first party, Darcy is basically rude to everyone.
Yeah.
Elizabeth overhears him saying some really mean things about her.
Ouch.
Yeah. And that's where the prejudice comes from. She's prejudiced against him.
I mean, could you blame her?
No, not really.
He was being a jerk.
He was.
But it's funny. Darcy's kind of prejudiced against Elizabeth, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He thinks she's, like, beneath him.
Because of her family and stuff.
Exactly.
Huh. I guess it goes both ways.
It totally does. They both judge each other right away.
Yeah. And it just gets worse because then Bingley and Jane, Elizabeth's sister, they start falling for each other. Yeah. And then this guy Wickham shows up. He seems really nice, but he's actually a total liar.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Yeah. And he tells Elizabeth all these horrible stories about Darcy.
Making Darcy look even worse.
Way worse. So Elizabeth is like convinced that Darcy is the worst human being ever.
Rightfully so, based on what she knows.
Right, yeah. So then what does Darcy do? He proposes to Elizabeth.
What?
Yeah.
Out of the blue.
Yes. And it is a disaster.
Like a train wreck.
Yes. Like, first of all, he acts like he's doing her this huge favor by even considering marrying her.
Oh, no.
I know. And then Elizabeth is like, no, thank you. You're awful.
She basically tells him off.
Right? Oh, yeah. She lets him have it.
I bet that was satisfying.
I know, right? So they're both, like, totally wrong about each other at this point.
Completely. But thankfully, the story doesn't end there.
Thank goodness.
Right. So Darcy gets this letter from Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
Where she just, like, lays into him.
Uh-huh.
And then he writes back.
And spills the tea.
Yes. He finally tells her the truth about Wickham.
Explains everything.
Like how Wickham tried to run off with Darcy's younger sister.
And all this other stuff.
All the drama.
And so Elizabeth is like, oh my God.
I was so wrong.
Yeah, like her whole world is flipped upside down.
I bet.
Yeah, but then things get even crazier.
What? It can't get crazier than that proposal.
Oh, just wait. Lydia, the youngest Bennet sister, runs off with Wickham.
No.
That's a scandal.
It's huge.
I mean, back then, for a young woman to run off with a guy without being married, it was like the worst thing you could do.
Oh, absolutely. Like it would ruin the whole family's reputation.
No one would want to marry her sisters.
Nobody. They'd be like social outcasts.
Total social suicide.
Yeah. But then Darcy does something totally unexpected.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What does he do?
He finds Lydia and Wickham
What?
and basically makes them get married.
Wow.
I know, right? He saves the Bennet family from ruin.
That's a plot twist. It is. And of course, Elizabeth is like completely blown away by this.
And she's starting to see the real Darcy.
Yeah, like the Darcy underneath all that pride.
The good guy.
The good guy. And then she gets to see him at his home, Pemberley.
That's a big deal, right?
Huge. It's like his giant estate.
I see.
And she sees how kind he is to people.
How he treats his servants and everyone.
Yeah. And so she's like, okay, maybe I was wrong about this guy.
Maybe he's not so bad after all.
Yeah. So eventually, after a lot of thinking and growing up, Darcy proposes to Elizabeth again. Round two. But this time, he's humble.
And sincere.
Totally. And she says yes. Happy ending.
Happy ending. And Bingley and Jane get back together too, so double happy ending.
Yay.
But this book isn't just about the romance.
Right.
It's about so much more.
It's about life.
It's about life. Let's talk about the themes.
Okay. What's you?
One of the big ones is love and marriage.
Obviously.
But Austen shows all these different types of love. Yeah, like Jane and Bingley, they're so sweet and innocent.
Right.
But then you have Elizabeth and Darcy, they're all about like witty banter and challenging each other.
They're like intellectually compatible, I guess.
Exactly. They make each other think.
And then you have Mr. Collins.
Oh, Mr. Collins.
Who just wants a wife, period.
Yeah. He doesn't care who it is.
Yeah.
As long as she can keep house.
It's so transactional.
Total business deal.
And then Lydia and Wickham, they're all about lust and excitement.
And look how that turned out.
Not great. Not great.
Yeah.
So Austen is saying that love should be more than just money or looks.
Totally. It should be about respect.
Understanding.
Yeah. And really liking the other person, like for who they are.
Yeah. And I think that's something we're still figuring out today.
Definitely. Like
yeah.
What makes a relationship really work?
Yeah.
What makes it last?
What makes it last, yeah. Okay, the next big theme, Pride and Prejudice.
The title of the book.
Exactly. We've talked about how Darcy is proud and Elizabeth is prejudiced.
But it's deeper than that, I think.
How so?
Well, Darcy's pride comes from his position in society.
Like he's rich and powerful.
Exactly. And he's afraid of what people will think if he marries someone like Elizabeth.
Okay.
And Elizabeth's prejudice comes from her family's situation.
Like they're not as wealthy or as high up as Darcy.
Exactly. And she's kind of using her prejudice as a shield, I think.
Like to protect herself from getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So they both have these blind spots because of their pride and prejudice.
And they can't see each other clearly.
Right.
Wow, that's really insightful.
It's all about how our backgrounds and experiences can shape how we see the world.
And how we judge people.
Yeah, and those judgments aren't always right.
Definitely not. Okay, another big one, family and reputation.
The Bennets are a whole case study in that.
They are. Like,
Wow.
Mrs. Bennet is so worried about her daughters marrying well because of their family's reputation.
And Lydia's elopement almost destroyed it.
It almost did.
It's like their whole world revolves around what other people think.
And that was so important back then.
Totally. Your reputation was everything.
It's still important today.
Yeah. Maybe not as much, but it still matters.
Yeah, I think so too. And of course, we can't forget about money.
Money makes the world go round.
Yeah, especially in this book.
Right. Like Darcy's 10,000 pounds a year.
That's like millions today.
I know, right? It's crazy.
It's crazy how much money mattered back then.
Like it determined who you could marry?
Where you lived?
Everything.
Everything, yeah. But I think Austen is also showing how money doesn't necessarily equal happiness.
Right. Like Darcy isn't happy at the beginning even though he's rich.
And Elizabeth chooses love over money in the end.
Exactly. She wants to marry someone who respects her.
Not just someone who's wealthy.
Right.
Okay, last big theme, personal growth.
This is my favorite.
I love it too. Both Elizabeth and Darcy really change over the course of the book.
They learn from their mistakes.
They do. Elizabeth realizes that she was too quick to judge Darcy.
And Darcy realizes that he needs to be more humble.
And they both learn to see past their pride and prejudice.
And that's how they finally fall in love.
It's like the ultimate rom-com character arc.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring, you know.
It is. Like, we can all learn from their mistakes.
And grow into better people.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about the themes.
The big ideas.
Big ideas. But the source material you sent also talks about some really interesting social issues that Austen is dealing with in this book.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on under the surface.
There is. So let's talk about women's roles.
Okay.
Like we said before, women didn't have a lot of options back then.
Marriage was basically their only choice.
Right. And even that was super limited.
Yeah. They couldn't choose who they wanted to marry.
Their families had a lot of say.
It was all about social standing and money.
And that's why Elizabeth is such a cool character.
Totally.
Because she wants more than that.
She wants to marry for love.
Yes. And that was kind of radical for the time.
It was. She was like a feminist before feminism was a thing.
I love that. And even though Austen isn't, like, explicitly political in this book,
Right.
she's still pointing out some serious social inequalities.
Yeah, like the difference between the wealthy elite and everyone else.
Like the Bennets.
Exactly. They're not poor, but they're not rich either.
Right.
And they have to worry about money all the time.
And they're always trying to climb the social ladder.
It's tough.
It is. And I think Austen is showing us how unfair that system is.
Yeah, that your worth shouldn't be based on your wealth or your social status.
Exactly. Okay, another thing that really struck me was how much myth communication drives the plot.
Oh, totally. Like if people just talk to each other honestly.
So much drama could have been avoided.
I know, right.
Especially Darcy. He's so bad at expressing himself.
He just assumes everyone understands him.
Which they don't.
Nope. And it causes so many problems.
Like with Bingley and Jane.
He tries to keep them apart.
Thinking he's doing the right thing.
But it's all based on a misunderstanding.
Oh.
It's frustrating, but it's also realistic, you know?
Yeah. Like, we all misunderstand each other sometimes.
Definitely.
And it's so important to communicate clearly.
To listen to each other.
To actually try to understand each other.
Yeah, that's key.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about morality.
Okay.
Because this book is really about judging character.
And how we could be so wrong.
Exactly. Like with Wickham.
He seems so charming at first.
But he's actually terrible.
Yeah, he lies, he manipulates people. He's just bad news.
And then Darcy, who seems so cold and arrogant.
He actually turns out to be a good guy.
Yeah. He has integrity. He's honorable. He helps people.
He's the real deal.
He is. So Austen is showing us how important it is to look beyond first impressions.
To not judge people based on superficial things.
To actually pay attention to their actions.
And their character.
Yeah. It's a good lesson for all of us.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We have.
But the source material you sent had a bunch of cool little facts and details about Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
So fun. Let's talk about some of them.
Okay.
First of all, the original title.
First impressions.
First impressions. So perfect.
Right, because the whole book is about how those first impressions can be so wrong.
Totally. And then the fact that Jane Austen herself never got married.
But she wrote this amazing book about love and marriage.
I know. It's kind of ironic.
It is. But maybe that's why she could see things so clearly.
Right.
Like she wasn't caught up in the whole marriage game herself.
So she could observe it from the outside.
Yeah. And offer her insights.
Insights that are still relevant today.
Totally.
Okay, another one. Darcy's £10,000 a year.
We already talked about how much money that is.
But it's worth repeating.
It is. It just shows how obsessed with money everyone was back then.
And especially Mrs. Bennet.
Oh, yeah. She was all about that.
She wanted her daughters to be set for life.
And who can blame her, really?
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, next fact. Pride and Prejudice wasn't a huge hit when it first came out.
Really?
No.
I thought it was always super popular.
Nope. It took a while for people to catch on.
Wow.
But now it's like this global phenomenon.
It's a classic.
Yeah. It's been translated into tons of languages.
And adapted into movies and TV shows.
There's even a Bollywood version.
Pride and Prejudice.
I love that.
It's so much fun.
I know. It just shows how universal the story is.
Yeah. It speaks to something deep in all of us.
Totally. Okay, this next one is a little bit technical, but I think it's really cool.
Hit me with it.
So Austen uses this thing called free indirect speech.
No, yeah, that's fancy.
It's basically a way of getting inside the characters' heads without saying, she thought, or he felt.
So it's like we're experiencing their thoughts directly.
Exactly. It makes the characters feel so real.
Like we know them intimately.
Yeah. And it's just really well done.
Austen was a master of language.
She was. Okay, last fact. Austen didn't get rich off of Pride and Prejudice.
What?
Yeah. She sold the copyright for like £110.
That's it?
That's it. And she didn't make much money from her other books either.
That's so sad.
I know. It's like she was this brilliant writer, but she never got the recognition she deserved during her lifetime.
But her work lives on.
It does. And that's what matters, I guess.
Totally.
Okay, one last little detail that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
Remember how Colonel Fitzwilliam mentions being in India?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a small thing, but it shows how the British Empire was expanding at the time.
And how that was starting to affect even people in England.
Yeah, like it was this whole world that was opening up.
And Austen was aware of it.
She was, even though her books are mostly about the small English world.
Right.
So there's this whole layer of history and context there.
It's fascinating.
It is.
So we've really gone deep.
We have. And I think the big takeaway is that Pride and Prejudice is more than just a love story.
It's about so much more.
It's about human nature.
About society.
About how we see the world.
And about growing as people.
Exactly. And those are things that are still relevant to us today.
No matter where we live or what our lives are like.
Totally. So as you go out into the world today, think about those first impressions.
The judgments we make about people.
The ways that Pride and Prejudice can blind us.
And remember that we can all learn and grow.
Just like Elizabeth and Darcy.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fun.
Until next time.
See you then.